You are banned from Christmas until you pay your sister's rent, my mother warned me. I didn't argue. I just cut off all financial assistance. On Christmas Eve, she called me, frantically asking me to help her with some money. Hi, I'm Bella, 32 years old, and I've been a pediatric nurse at Vanderbilt University Medical Center in Nashville, Tennessee, for 9 years. I work long shifts, sometimes 14 hours straight. I care for sick children, hold the hands of terrified parents. I've watched babies fight for their lives, held toddlers during their final breaths, and somehow still found the energy to show up for my family whenever they called, which has been my entire life. My parents live in Nashville too, just 20 minutes away. And then there's Wendy, my younger sister. She's 21 now, a third-year pre-med student at Emory University in Atlanta, living a life I helped fund but was never invited to celebrate. To understand why that phone call shattered me, you need to know our history. I was 11 years old when Wendy was born. For years before that, my parents had tried desperately to give me a sibling. But pregnancy after pregnancy ended in heartbreak, miscarriages, loss, grief that hung over our house like a fog that never lifted. I remember my mother crying in the bathroom after one particular loss. They had almost given up. And then, against all odds, Wendy came along. She was their miracle. And I became her protector, her second mother. From the moment she was born, I was taught that Wendy was special in a way I could never be. I changed her diapers when I should have been playing with dolls. I fed her bottles at 2 a.m. while the rest of the house slept. I babysat while they worked, gave up sleepovers and birthday parties because someone had to watch the baby. I walked her to school, helped her with homework, stayed up late cutting shapes out of construction paper for her projects. I was told, over and over, always think of Wendy first. She's special. And I did. For 21 years, I did. But somewhere along the way, love turned into something darker. Wendy wasn't just cherished. She was worshipped, coddled and shielded from every consequence, every hint of reality the rest of us had to face. She learned early that tears got her whatever she wanted, that tantrums were rewarded with gifts. And I became the dependable one. When Wendy was in high school, my parents asked me to help with her tuition. Private school, they said. She deserves the best education. I was working full-time by then, barely out of nursing school myself, still drowning in my own student loans, living in a tiny studio apartment with second-hand furniture. But I said yes, because that's what I always did. When she got sick with pneumonia her junior year, I paid her medical bills. When she needed a car, I helped with the down payment. When she got into college, I covered her textbooks, meal plans, sorority fees, spring break trips. Every expense came with a promise. Just this once. We'll pay you back. But they never did. My parents wanted her to go to Vanderbilt, where I had graduated with honors, so she could stay close to home. But Wendy refused. She wanted freedom. She wanted Atlanta. She wanted Emory. And my parents let her go. I kept supporting her. Tuition payments every semester. Rent money wired on the first of every month. Grocery deliveries because she was too busy studying to cook. Ubers because she didn't like walking. I told myself it was temporary. That once she graduated, she would understand. She would pay me back. She would thank me. But Wendy didn't even see my sacrifices. To her, I was just doing what big sisters were supposed to do. Then came the apartment incident. 3 months ago, Wendy called me, excited and breathless. She had found the perfect place. A luxury building in Midtown Atlanta with a rooftop pool, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the skyline. How much is the rent? I asked carefully. $2,200 a month. I nearly dropped the phone. Wendy, that's insane. You're a student. You don't need. But I love it, Bella. And I already told my friends I'm moving in. I took a deep breath. I found 3 places near Emory that are under $1,000 a month. Safe neighborhoods close to campus. Let me send you the listings. I don't want those, she snapped. They're boring. They're beneath me. Beneath you? Wendy, I can't afford $2,200 a month on top of everything else I'm already paying for. There was a long silence. Then her voice turned cold.
Fine.
I'll call Mom. And she did. She told my mother I was being selfish, that I didn't care about her safety. She cried and played the victim. And my mother believed every word. That's what led to the phone call. The phone rang at 9:47 p.m. on a cold December night. I was curled up on my couch, still in my scrubs from a 12-hour shift at the hospital. My feet ached. A cup of chamomile tea sat cooling beside me, and I had just started to feel the tension finally melting away. Then I saw my mother's name flash across the screen. Excited as I always was to speak to me, Mum, I answered the call. Hello. Bella. Her voice cut through the line, sharp and impatient, no greeting. We need to talk about Wendy's rent. I closed my eyes and let my head fall back. Not this again. Mom, I already told her. I don't care what you told her, she interrupted, her tone rising. Your sister needs help, and you're her family. That's what family does, Bella. Family shows up. I gripped the phone tighter, feeling my pulse quicken. Mom, the apartment she chose is way too expensive. I suggested 3 different places that were closer to campus, safer, and half the price. She refused to even look at them. That's not the point. The point is, you're supposed to be there for her. You've always been there for her. And now, suddenly, you're too selfish to help your own sister? The word selfish landed like a slap. I felt my throat tighten, my eyes burn. I wanted to scream. I wanted to cry. Mom, I won't be doing as Wendy says. I said softly. Then you are banned from Christmas until you pay your sister's rent. The line went quiet. I could hear my own breathing, shallow and uneven. Mom, you can't be serious. I'm completely serious, Bella. Don't come to this house until you do the right thing.
Click.
I stood there, phone still pressed to my ear, listening to the empty silence. My hand was trembling. Then slowly, I lowered the phone and set it on the counter. The screen went dark. The echo of that one sentence filled the room, sinking into my skin, carving itself into my chest. You are banned from Christmas. I had been erased. With one phone call, I had been cut out of my own family's holiday because I refused to pour more money into a bottomless pit. The next morning, I woke up with swollen eyes and a pounding headache. I had barely slept. I made coffee with shaking hands and stared at my laptop for a long time before opening it. I logged into my bank account and started scrolling through my transaction history, month by month, year by year. One by one, the payments appeared. Wendy's tuition, $4,800. Again and again. My parents' electric bill, $150. Then $175. Then $200. Groceries delivered to their house every week, $120, $140, $200. Gas money for my father's truck. Car repairs. A new dishwasher for their kitchen. My chest tightened with every line. Then I clicked over to my credit card account. Autopay for Nashville Electric Service, running for 4 years. Netflix family plan upgraded to premium because Wendy wanted multiple devices. Wendy's phone bill, $85 a month. Her gym membership at some bougie Atlanta fitness studio, $120 a month. Textbook orders totaling thousands of dollars. I scrolled back further. 2 years. 3 years. For years. Some of these payments had been running since Wendy's freshman year. Auto-pay settings I set up once and forgot about while my account slowly bled dry. Then I opened Venmo. Dozens of transfers. Hundreds of them. A long, endless scroll. Groceries for Mom. Emergency flight home for Wendy. $50 here. $300 there. $700. $1,000. I stopped scrolling and started adding them up using a calculator. When I pressed enter and the total appeared on my screen, I felt like I had been punched in the chest. $50,462. I stared at that number until it blurred, until tears dripped onto the keyboard. That was a down payment on a house. That was a brand new car, paid in full. That was a master's degree. That was a year of traveling the world. A hot tear slid down my cheek. I was sobbing, shoulders shaking, gasping for air. I had given them everything, and they had banned me from Christmas. I sat there crying in the morning light, feeling the weight of every sacrifice pressing down on my chest until I couldn't breathe. Then I remembered something my colleague Grace had told me once. Bella, try to spend your money on yourself, because when family takes without control, they never stop. They'll drain you until there's nothing left. I had laughed it off then, insisting my family wasn't like that. I wasn't laughing now. I wiped my eyes, sat up straighter, and made a decision. I clicked into my bank's bill pay settings. One by one, I canceled every autopay, every subscription, every linked account. Nashville Electric Service, canceled. Verizon Wireless, removed my payment method. Netflix, downgraded to basic and removed all profiles except mine. Then I called American Express. I need to deactivate a supplementary card, I told the representative, my voice steady now. May I ask why? She asked politely. Because the cardholder has been taking advantage of me for years, and I'm done. There was a pause. Then she said gently, I understand. Let me process that for you right away. I canceled the Christmas party fund I had been secretly saving, the $1,200 I had set aside for catering and decorations. And when I was done, when every automatic payment had been severed, I closed the laptop and sat in the silence of my apartment. For the first time in years, I felt relief. Not joy. Not triumph. Just relief. Like I had finally set down a weight I had been carrying for so long. A few days later, on Christmas Eve, my phone rang again. It was my mother. Her voice was frantic, panicked. Bella, where's the money for catering? You promised you'd send it. The party's tomorrow, and I haven't ordered anything yet. I took a slow, deliberate breath. Mom, I said quietly, you banned me from Christmas. Remember? There was a pause. A long, uncomfortable pause. Then her tone softened, desperation creeping in. Well, you can still come, of course.
We didn't mean it like that.
But we really need the money, Bella. Everyone's expecting a big dinner tomorrow. I smiled, though she couldn't see it. Okay, Mom. Okay. She sounded confused, suspicious. Okay, what? I'll be there tomorrow. You'll send the money? I'll be there. I repeated, deliberately vague. I hung up before she could ask any more questions. Tomorrow was going to be very, very interesting. Christmas Day. I pulled up to my parents' house in the late afternoon. The place looked like something out of a holiday magazine, draped in lights and garland, glowing candles in every window. Lights I had paid for. Decorations I had funded. I sat in my car for a moment, hands gripping the steering wheel, taking slow, deep breaths. Then I stepped out and pushed open the front door. The warmth hit me first, the smell of cinnamon and pine, the sound of Christmas music. The living room was full of relatives, all dressed in their holiday best, laughing and chatting. But there was no food. Just empty plates on the dining table and increasingly anxious glances toward the kitchen. My mother stood near the island, checking her phone frantically. My father sat in his usual armchair, avoiding eye contact. And Wendy sat on the couch in a designer sweater I had probably helped pay for, scrolling through her phone with a bored expression. No one noticed me at first. Tyler, my 12-year-old cousin, saw me and ran to me. I lifted him in the air and tickled him. 30 minutes later, the party started. We sang, danced, and laughed. My mom looked nervous. She had asked me about the catering. I simply smiled and told her I had things under control. While drinks were passed around, Aunt Marjorie, my mother's loud, dramatic sister, playfully asked, So, when's the food arriving, Mary? I've been smelling turkey in my dreams since last night. She was asking my mum. A few people chuckled nervously, but the laughter died quickly. My mother's face flushed red. It should have been here already. If Bella had just done what she was supposed to, we'd all be eating by now. The room went completely quiet. Every head turned. Aunt Marjorie's eyebrows shot up. Oh Lord, Bella again? Honey, what exactly was she supposed to do? My mother's voice rose. She knows. She's been taking care of things for years, but suddenly, this year, she's too busy to help her own family. Too proud to lift a finger for her sister. I had been carrying Tyler on my lap. I dropped him, and then I spoke. Mom, I've lifted more than a finger. Every eye in the room turned to me. I've lifted this family for 6 years. I've paid the electric bills when you forgot. I've covered the groceries when Dad's paycheck ran short. I've sent rent money to Wendy every single month, on time, without fail. I've paid for the Christmas lights outside right now, the decorations on this tree, the wreath on your door. And all I've gotten in return are complaints, conditions, and cold shoulders whenever I said no. The room fell so silent, you could hear the Christmas music playing faintly from the speaker. My mother's face went from red to pale. You're exaggerating. You're being dramatic. Am I? I looked directly at her. You threatened to ban me from Christmas because I refused to pay an unreasonable amount for Wendy's rent. An apartment she chose, knowing full well I couldn't afford it. Gasps rippled through the room. Someone whispered, "She did what?" My mother opened her mouth, closed it, opened it again. That's not, you're twisting it.
No, Mom.
I'm telling the truth. For the first time in years, I'm telling the truth. I turned to face the whole room now. I have sacrificed over $50,000 to keep this family afloat. 50,000. I've deprived myself of savings, of security, of a future, just to make sure you and Wendy were comfortable. I didn't buy a house because I was paying your mortgage. I didn't go on vacations because I was funding Wendy's spring breaks. I didn't get a new car because I was covering Dad's repairs. My voice cracked, but I kept going. I've worked 12-hour shifts at the hospital, come home exhausted, and still found time to transfer money, pay bills, answer panicked phone calls at midnight. I've done it all quietly, without asking for thanks, because I thought that's what love was. I thought that's what family meant. But I was wrong. My mother's eyes were shimmering now. My father stared at the floor. Wendy sat frozen, her face pale. An uncle coughed awkwardly. Someone shifted in their seat. My mother started to speak, defensive, pleading. Helping is what you do for family, Bella. You help the people you love. Mary, stop. My father's voice cut through the room like thunder. He stood up slowly from his chair, and for the first time in years, I saw something in his face I hadn't seen before. Regret. Bella's right, he said quietly. We've used her. We've taken her for granted. We've treated her like an ATM instead of our daughter. He turned to me, and his eyes were red, shining with unshed tears. I'm sorry, sweetheart. We never meant to make you feel this way. We never realized what we were doing to you. My throat tightened. My chest ached. I wanted to collapse. I wanted to cry. But I just sat there, breathing slowly, feeling the weight of several years finally lifting off my shoulders. My father walked over slowly, stopped behind my chair, and wrapped his arms around me from behind, holding me tightly. I'm so sorry, baby girl, he whispered, his voice breaking. I'm so sorry. I felt my body shake. The tears I had been holding back for weeks, for years, finally broke free. I sobbed into my hands, my shoulders trembling, my breath coming in ragged gasps. The room stayed silent, watching, witnessing. Then my mother stood slowly. Her face was pale, her eyes red and shining. Aunt Marjorie leaned over and whispered loud enough for everyone to hear, Mary, you need to apologize to your daughter. Right now. My mother's lips trembled. She looked at me, really looked at me, maybe for the first time in years. And then she walked over. She joined the embrace, wrapping her arms around both me and my father, her body shaking with quiet sobs. "I'm sorry, Bella," she whispered. "I'm so sorry." I hugged them both back, tears streaming down my face, my heart breaking and healing at the same time. For a long moment, we just stood there, the three of us holding each other while the rest of the family watched in respectful silence. Then I heard a sharp sound, a chair scraping against the floor. Wendy stood abruptly, her face flushed with anger. She grabbed her purse and stormed toward the door. "This is ridiculous," she muttered. "You're all being ridiculous." She slammed the door behind her so hard the wreath rattled. No one went after her. My father tightened his arms around me. "We're going to do better, sweetheart. I promise." My mother nodded against my shoulder. "We will. I swear we will." The room erupted into gentle applause, soft and supportive. I wiped my tears and let out a shaky laugh. "Okay, I believe you." For the first time in years, I felt seen. Not as a wallet, not as a safety net, but as a daughter. As my parents returned to their seats, my phone buzzed in my pocket. I pulled it out and glanced at the screen. A text from the caterer. "We're outside. Where would you like us to set up?" What I had not told anyone that I actually made arrangement for the food after Mom's call yesterday. I looked up at the room full of hungry, emotionally exhausted family members. And I smiled. I stood up and cleared my throat. "Okay, everyone," I said. "I think it's time we turned these tears into cheers." My mother looked at me, confused. "What do you mean?" "The food is here." Her eyes widened.
What?
But I thought, "I never canceled anything, Mom. I just let you think I did." The room erupted into surprised laughter and relieved applause. I walked to the front door and opened it. Outside, a catering van sat in the driveway, revealing trays upon trays of food. Roast turkey, honey-glazed ham, mashed potatoes, green bean casserole, cranberry sauce, dinner rolls, 3 different kinds of pie. Everything my family loved. Everything I had arranged last night, quietly, without telling anyone, because despite everything, I still loved them. The caterers began carrying the trays inside. People cheered. Aunt Marjorie clapped and shouted, "Hallelujah!" My mother stared at me, tears streaming down her face. Grateful. Humbled. "You did this," she whispered. "I did. Even after everything." "Even after everything," I said softly. "Because I love you." She nodded, unable to speak, and pulled me into another tight hug. As the family gathered around the table, plates piled high with food, laughter returning, I felt something settle inside me.
Peace.
Not the fragile, anxious peace of someone trying to keep everyone happy, but the deep, steady peace of someone who had finally set boundaries and been heard. I had paid for this meal, but it wasn't out of obligation. It was out of choice, and that made all the difference. A few weeks later, on a bright Sunday morning in January, I woke up to sunlight streaming through my bedroom window. I stretched, feeling rested in a way I hadn't felt in years. No anxiety, or phone buzzing with urgent requests. Just peace. Things were different now. My parents and I had begun to rebuild our relationship, but this time, on a foundation of mutual respect, not guilt. They finally understood how much I had sacrificed, and they stopped asking me to be their safety net. As for Wendy, she was told by my parents, not me, that she needed to find a cheaper apartment. She was furious. She accused them of abandoning her, but they held firm. She moved into a smaller place closer to campus. 1 bedroom. No rooftop pool. She hasn't spoken to me since Christmas Day. I've tried reaching out once or twice. "Hey, how are you?" Nothing. And you know what? I've made my peace with it. I hope one day she understands. But if that day never comes, I'll survive. Thank you for listening to my story. And if you enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe.